Okay, so there's a couple things I got to talk about on Catfish. Obviously, there are a few things, and first off, let's start with the co-host, who she's a rapper. I I don't know who she is, but she brought a lot to the table, and I was surprised how like she had a nice little negative vibe where she was like, "This is not going to end well." She talked to the guy. She was like, "Hey, yeah, this is great. I hope you find what you want." And then he left. You know, they turned the camera off, and it's not going to work out. And she was right. And like that's usually how it is. She wasn't like the girl last week who kind of kept making everything about her situation and her dealing with Catfish or whatever. And I like that. I'm glad she was actually a good co-host. She was a good co-host. Good for her. Now let's get into the real thing. So there's this guy, right? And he meets this girl online. First of all, like, look at the chick's pic. Okay, look at her picture, man. Let me tell you this. 98% of the time when you go to a Facebook page and it's like a black girl with like green or blue or gray eyes, she ain't real, okay? Or if she is real and she hits you back and she's interested in you, that's a lie. It's a lie. It's not real. She ain't real. The picture's real, but it ain't her. That's just my original thought. That girl was fine as hell. Hell. Like, really. So that happens, and he meets her, and he's talking, and he seems like he's like really emotionally invested, and he's in love, and like he talks to her about stuff that he doesn't talk to anybody else about. 7 of his friends died, and he went to her to talk, and he could have talked to anybody else, but he chose her. So it's an emotional attachment, and it's something that is really sacred to him, and I get that. She was there for him in a time of need. Cool. Doesn't make it true that she's who she is. She's not. So they go through all this, and the first thing they find is a girl named Tamala, right? And it says Tamala is a let me rephrase that. The girl that he's talking to says she's a janitor, and I was like, God, if she's a janitor, she must be. I ain't never seen a fine janitor, put it that way. At a high school or elementary school or middle school, I've never seen a janitor where I was like, damn. First of all, I haven't seen many female janitors. So I see one and I'm like, damn, she fine. It's not, no. That's a red flag. And she looked like that in the picture? And she a janitor looking like that? Come on, bro. No. Absolutely not. Right? So they go, oh God. I got a cold. So they go and they run the numbers and everything, and they get this name back. It's a guy's name. So my original thought was, oh no, oh no, because he said that the guy used to date the girl that he's talking to, guy that he knew in high school, and I was like, oh no, it's the guy from high school. He's like, I secretly wanted to do some nasty. I wanted to give you 20 minutes, and I couldn't do it. So I had to go through this girl. So I was worried about that. I was really like, oh no, this is what's happening. But then they digged a little further and further, and it got back to this email address. This email address took it to this Facebook page, and the picture of the girl, Tamla. And I'm like, oh, okay, wow. Then there's like a picture of her playing basketball, and like, no lie, she looked like Lurch. Like she's very like broad at the shoulders and everywhere else, and it's just like really surprising. And I saw that and I was like, well, that looks like a janitor. Okay, that's a janitor. That is a janitor, ladies and gentlemen. So they're going through that, and he said something about these 2 other people that he came in contact with through her or in conjunction with her or whatever. So they went and looked them up. One of them they called, and she called back and told them the story. She gave the same exact lines, which is good, except it makes you think that she's the catfish. And so they're already like, well, maybe it's this bitch, you know, maybe she's the one that's been doing this the whole time. And then there's this other one called A Baby or Baby Love or something like that. I don't know. Some weirdness. And out of the three, she is the most attractive, but like not by a lot at all. You know what I mean? She's the light-skinned one, which we'll get into that in a minute. But, you know, so they take this information back to the guy. And here's where I was on Twitter and a lot of people got upset with the guy. I don't know why they did, but they got upset with him because of what happened. They showed him the picture of Tamala, and he was like, "Whoa, whoa, oh no, not in my house," right? And they showed him that, and then they showed him the picture of A Baby, and he was like, "Okay, all right, that's not bad, right? I could probably work with that." Now, everybody on Twitter got mad about this, and they were like, "Oh, you only about the physicality, and you only into," and the co-host actually, she was like, "Really? You just in it for the body? You just like what you know what I mean? It's only physical for you," and I don't believe that's true. Clearly, the guy is emotionally invested. It's not just about how the person looks. It's an emotional attachment, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why this happened the way it happened. How his reaction was. Think of it this way: you know that you've been lied to, and you like, I have to. One of these two options is it. The first option, I don't want to say repulsed, but like you really are not attracted at all to. So you see it and you're like, "Oh no, shit, no," right? And then you see another one, and it's not as bad. Your natural propensity inside will force you to be like, "Oh no, not so bad. All right, if it comes down to it, I can work with that. I cannot work with this, but I can work with this," right? So that's what it was. It wasn't, all about the physicality. However, look, in my opinion, physical attraction counts up for more than 50% of what brings a person to another person. I mean, you could have the greatest personality in the world, but if you like drop dead ugly, how would somebody even begin to approach you? Like, they're going to be like, oh, no, and they'll never get a chance to see that inside. So it has to have some amount of attraction, some amount of physical attraction. It'd be insane not to. Take that into account. We push ahead, they get on the phone, and she's talking and whatever, and they finally get to meet her. And A Baby comes out, and I'm like, "Oh, it was A Baby all the time. It was this weird trio of girls, and it turns out it was all A Baby." So A Baby comes out. One, she is quite more significant than in her pictures. She's really more significant than she is in pictures. And he's like, "Oh, I made a mistake. Oh shit." And so she comes out and they're like, "So it's you?" And she's like, No, she's in there. She's really nervous. Be nice to her." And I'm like, No, she don't get to. You've been lying for 4 years. You get whatever happens. So they go and bring her out, and she comes out, and she's like, "Oh, hey, give me a hug. Oh, give me another hug." And I'm like, "Why? No, what? You're acting like the pictures were you. They weren't. They were not you at all." Okay? So she's out, and she's just, and like, honestly, I thought she might have been like mentally like deficient, because when she said be nice to her, then she came out and she was like, "Oh, hi, what is going on?" Ooh. And she was really like upbeat about everything, like to an extent that was weird. Like, you shouldn't be that upbeat after you lied to a guy for 4 years, right? So she's like, "No, everything I told you was me. It's just the picture wasn't me." No, you can't base a relationship off of a bold-faced, bald-headed, thick-thighed lie. You can't do that, because it's not going to go anywhere. And he's an 18-year-old boy. Of course he's driven by physical attraction. There's no way y'all getting together. And it's not because, you're a bad person or you're dark-skinned or any of that stuff. Excuse me, my nose is killing me. attention. Okay, I'm back. So her thing was like, she was saying, oh, it's because I'm dark skinned. I had to get a light skinned girl so you can get my attention and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there like, look, I grew up dark skinned. Okay, look at this. This is not bright. I grew up dark skinned. I grew up with siblings that are light skinned. So I know where she's coming from. But at the same time, dude, you got to get your shit together. So what? It has nothing to do with you being dark skinned and the girl being light skinned. You acting like y'all were identical looking people, and the only thing that was different was the skin color. You look drastically different from the picture girl. And it has nothing to do with skin color. Just keep it real. That's not what this is about. You hurt the guy, and he's hurt, and he thought he was getting one thing, and he got another. You think you get chicken, and you get like riblets or something, you're going to be pissed off. So, like, I understand where he's coming from. My video is about to cut, so I'm going to say, look, this episode was really crazy. Like, I feel bad for the guy. He was emotionally invested. She tried to offer him head, and I was like, well, I mean, the camera was around. He probably would have took it, but they still wouldn't have got anywhere. But, like, weird. It was just a weird situation, and everything about it was strange, and it made me uncomfortable, and I just, like, wow. That's pretty much my review for this episode of Catfish, and I'm gonna go get my 20 minutes, and I'll holler at y'all later. Deuces.